Give me the thumbs up. Okay. This is a meeting of the Pioneer Valley Regional School District Committee. A link to view the school committee meeting will be on the website at www.pvrsdk12.org, or you can view it at www.facebook.com/BNC television. The public is welcome to attend in person or via Facebook BNC television. But in the event of an issue, the public meeting in person shall continue to proceed. This meeting is being held via Google Meet in accordance with the Governor of Massachusetts' March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. If you'd like to speak during citizens' comments, please email citizenscomments@pvrsdk12.org. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Jeannie Milton.
Nathan Swartz.
Melissa Gary.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield.
Alan Genovese, Warwick.
Rena Dastu, Northfield.
And
Michelle, you want to start? Robin, you want to go ahead?
can they hear us?
Am I frozen?
They should hear you through the...
Can anybody hear us?
I'll send them a message.
I'll just eat my cookies.
I've got.
I don't think they can hear us.
We should have slides.
Yeah, but it should be fed in through here.
I'm going to send a chat.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I can do it.
Lois.
No, try text. The lowest. Okay. We're just going to keep trying until maybe we get somebody to say yes, they can hear us.
Can I just ask if you get sent a link?
I just got something from her. Is she speaking?
No, she just wasn't able to be here in person, so she usually gets a link so she can come to you.
Okay.
Michelle, can you hear us?
Is she trying to request?
I don't have anything.
If we see her, she should be out.
Julie's not here, and Stephanie is the owner, and I don't know about...
They're in,
Can she join via BNC TV?
Is there a
I mean, can she watch?
Thank you.
So I just sent a message. Let's see. I just texted Michelle. Who else is there?
Michelle can't hear anything.
Okay.
Patricia, you don't have an individual mute for each picture, do you? That you can unmute by any chance? Did they get
I'm not
stuck
the
on that?
meeting. I'm not the...
Oh, you're
They're
not
on,
host.
no, Michelle's unmuted, but they can't hear us, but it should be audio through the meeting, not the Google
Yes.
Meet itself.
Okay,
And
yeah,
if
Michelle
I
said she
un-
can't hear anything.
If I unmute myself on this, it's gonna be awful noise.
Oh,
So,
So don't do that.
don't do that. We'll have spaceships landing.
Feedback cities.
Maybe.
Oh, I might be able to add a guest. Let me see.
I can try to minimize and add somebody.
Will you, Renee, I just tried to add Claire. Can you see if she got an invite, please?
Oh, that's good, yeah, I was asking her, yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Because that might have an impact on citizens, right? Citizens' comments. We had the same problem.
So do we know, we can't hear them either. We can't hear
Correct.
them either.
No, when they were talking, Robin, when she logged in, was able to talk. If you want, we can test it. We can have Michelle
Yeah,
try
let's test
talking.
Do you want me to send a message?
Oh, well, he wasn't in the meeting.
Robin,
There, see, yep.
I can't hear anything, can you?
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, you and I can talk, but,
We can hear you,
oh, they
Michelle.
can hear us. Okay,
No.
they can hear us, but we can't hear them.
Oh, no.
Do you want me to come in on my phone?
No.
Do you want me to use my phone?
No, no.
I don't know yet, I'm waiting. Oh, there they are.
Yay! We can hear you.
You can hear us?
You can hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, and you can hear me. I'm so
It's because
happy.
we just needed Claire to join, that's all.
I'm here, I got it, thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Claire.
Okay, when we were delayed because of our technical issue, we were taking a roll call. So can we hear from Robin? Are you here?
I'm here.
Okay. Jim? Jim, can you hear us?
He's muted.
Yes,
Okay.
and I'm here.
Okay. David? No?
No, David won't be here.
Okay. Thank you.
Michelle.
Oh, Michelle, I had you marked.
Here.
Okay, I had you marked off already, thank you. If you didn't hear me before, I'm taking Julie's place because she was not able to be here tonight, okay? Before we have citizens' comments, I'd like to introduce our newest member of the school committee, Melissa Gary. Yay. She is.
Thank you.
Everything's official. She's ready to get to work right away.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. All right, now we're ready for citizens' comments, and we have at least one person, and that would be Lois Stearns. Lois, would you like to share your wisdom with us?
Okay, thank you. I'm Lois Stearns. I'm chairman of the Northfield Finance Committee. And so I want to publicly thank Patricia for her participation with our meeting last Monday night. She gave us a lot of good information, things that we needed to hear, and she readily answered any questions that the members had. And we all appreciated the time that she took and the effort she made to give us all the information that we would like to have. So just thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Lois. Thank you. It was a pleasure being there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lois. Is there anybody else who would like to speak tonight? Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
Patricia, are you going to be setting up meetings with the other finance committee selectmen of the three other towns?
I am.
Is this regarding the budget?
So this was with Finance Committee. I spoke with Leiden last night. I have talked to Lou about meeting over in Bernardston, and I believe that Joanne has contacted Warwick about a similar meeting in Warwick.
Thank you.
Very good. Alan?
And just a comment, I've never paid attention to this before, but we give 3 minutes per person. Of course, people don't usually talk for that. But just so the math works out, we ought to put 21 minutes total.
I think we might give a little leeway if that were the case. Yep.
Yeah, I
I didn't understand a word that Alan said.
Oh, Ellen?
Oh,
could
I was
you
just
repeat?
suggesting we add a minute to citizens' comments so that 3 times 7 is 21 if someone talked for the 3 minutes. That's all.
Well, that's assuming everyone is going to take their full 3 minutes. Ah, okay. All right, I ask everybody's consideration for the fact that I'm not very technologically savvy here tonight. But I think we will move on to the minutes. Do we have any corrections or additions to the minutes? Anyone?
I move that we approve the October 14th minutes as presented.
Second, anyone?
I'll second.
Okay. And we'll take a vote then, unless there's a discussion. Jeannie?
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Nathan Schwartz Warwick, yes.
Melissa Gary, abstain.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Alan Genovese Warwick, yes.
Rita Dastu, Northfield, yes.
Robin?
Robin Knight Blyden, yes.
Michelle?
Michelle Jeruso Leiden, yes.
And is there anyone else?
Jim Bell, yes.
Oh, Jim, I can't see your, oh, yeah.
It's okay, Karen.
Your bright light behind you is obscuring your handsome face. Okay, thank you very much for that. And we'll move on to the reports, and Ryan will present
Okay, thank
some
you.
information. Yes.
So just some general news. Yesterday in our Pathways block, our 7th grade students participated in their 5th of 6 TAB training sessions. So TAB is Training Active Bystanders, and those are led by our high school TAB trainers. And it's really important that students feel safe in their community and school, and that students know the proper precautions to take in the event that there's bullying and how to best prevent that in our school. Today in Pathways, however, we participated in clubs and enrichment. So basically, students can play sports in the gym, they can meet with student council, they can meet with yearbook committee, they could participate in an arts club, and it's a great use of time. It's really productive between double block classes, and I know that students enjoy it a lot. I'd also like to talk about Miss Galani's emergency care class that we offer here at Pioneer. So this course offers a variety of different skills that are important to becoming an EMT. So they learn a lot of medical terminology that is essential for emergency situations. They learn how to wrap particular injuries, like if you broke your shoulder or your wrist. And then they also learn how to handle scenarios, an emergency situation like a car crash, how to properly remove someone from a wrecked car. So obviously it's a very important class that we offer here. So thank you, that's all I have.
Ryan, do they include CPR in that class?
They do, yes, sorry, that is an important part of it as well. Yep.
Well, thank you for that. It's so good to hear that there are many activities that our students are availing themselves of at this time. Okay, Superintendent's report.
Okay. I am following up on several items that were raised in prior issues. The first was about major purchases in the food services department. I did a review of current policy and do not see any language that requires school committee approval for large purchases in the food services department. We would need to follow Massachusetts bid procedures if any purchases were anticipated to come in at greater than $50,000. Secondly, there was a request at the last meeting that we provide information about the budgeting for school choice seats for this year. So, for the current school year, we anticipated that we would be spending just north of $428,000 on school choice seats. We anticipated that we would be bringing in just over $536,000. So overall, we anticipated that we would take in more money from school choice seats than we spent. Our numbers to date are holding true to that anticipation. In fact, our revenues from school choice receipts are higher, just a small amount, but they are actually higher than anticipated at this point in the year. Our current surplus in the equation for school choice seats is $80,844. Okay, so that is in response to a question raised last week. And the last portion of my report is about masks. So we have received requests from families for help with provisioning high-quality masks for students, and we have received requests from staff. I am electing to use ESSER funding to purchase masks, and I want to show you what we have and what will be going out. Thank you to, if I hold this here, that gets up on the screen, right? Okay. Our high school students today volunteered and created 400 of these paper bags. We're starting first with elementary school. If we can make it all happen, every elementary child will go home tomorrow with a paper bag like this. And it will have some instructions taped on the outside. I will send something out electronically. Inside the bag are 2 types of masks. Both of them are high quality. They are KN95s. The first is a cute little package that contains 2 masks that are what's called a boat style. Oh, I should have opened this before the... Here we go. The idea behind this, families, is that we want to send you home with a couple different masks that you can try on with your child and see which one works, is more comfortable for them. And then you're going to let us know which one you prefer, if you want, and we will send you home a supply of 6 more masks, so that you have 7 masks total. This is a boat-style mask. It's got that nice little nose bridgey thing. There are 2 of these in this cute little package. And here's a Poecon. It's a little bit more traditional looking KN95. Small, as you can see. Although we had at least one adult in this building who tried it on and felt that it fit her better.
Like if you have a small bone structure.
That could, yes, exactly. So there's a few pieces to this. We're going to send one of these bags home, and we've got a great picture. If you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out a picture of a group of high school kids filling these bags today. We have learned that these disposable masks may be reused safely up to 5 times, and there's a little system for it. If you've got 7 paper bags, you could write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 1 on each bag. If your child has their Monday bag, they take their mask out of their Monday bag on Monday morning, put it on, happily go off to school. They have a day full of adventure and learning. They come home, they take off their Monday mask, and they put it back in their Monday bag where it sits for a week. And all the bad things that might be on it die, or they go away. And it sits there. Tuesday morning, they open their Tuesday bag, take off their Tuesday mask, trip off to school, and they have a great day of adventure and learning, etc. So we want to make sure families have access to this. So first step will be, in the elementary buildings, we'll send this home. You try on these 2 masks. There'll be a quick Google form. Tell us which one you want. And we will send your child home with a big Ziploc bag that has 7 paper bags and 6 more of whichever mask you choose. In this school, we're going to allow students to kind of check these out. We have a bunch that are marked sample. There's another mask that's currently available. It's the one I have on. It's a NIOSH approved. It's actually an N95, which means it meets United States standards, versus a KN95, which meets Chinese standards, and a KN94 meets Korean standards. How are we doing here?
K signifies they're made in China.
Yes. But the KN94, I think, meets Korean standards.
Oh, is Korea.
Yeah. This is quite a mask. I have it on. It has foam on the back. It fits pretty tightly. It has a bit of a machine smell. It doesn't smell good when you put it on. So and it comes in these individual packages. If I were doing 7 of these, I'd take them out of the packs and I'd hang them up somewhere and let the smell dissipate. I will say that after wearing it for a little bit, I feel much better with it. This is very tight. We just ordered yesterday 2 more adult models of masks. We want to make sure all our people have what they need. So I hope by next week there will be 3 different adult versions of masks. Staff will be able to view them, kids in this building can view them. You tell us what you like, we'll make it available. So we're making it work. Tell me what questions you have or what your thoughts are as we try to do this. Nathan?
I know it's been really cold and there's been a lot of indoor gym. How are the different masks, with the kids running around inside?
So, Ryan, maybe you can help, but what I've heard from, I think from Carrie Baird, our athletic director, is that the kids actually prefer those masks when they're doing sports. Am I right?
Yeah, I think.
These are harder to breathe through.
Yeah, but I heard talks of maybe athletes may have to switch to those. I'm not quite sure because I think they are maybe a little more effective.
Yeah, for sure.
Clearly, so.
I had ordered some KN95s off of an internet site. My husband wore one today to the hospital. He had to get some blood work. And he walked in and they always hand you one of the blue surgical type masks. And the guy said, well, the one you have on is better than what I'm going to give you, but please put this on over the one you've got on.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, so if the kid, I'm sorry, there's a lot of feedback. If the kids can reuse the masks, you said up to 5 times, so that should take them through the next 5 weeks.
February vacation-ish.
Okay.
And we will have more masks
And then we're going to
available.
replenish the stock.
Mm-hmm.
And then if if one gets dirty, then we can just replace that. Okay, great.
Robin.
I just had a question. Oh, it's Robin. I had a question.
Hi.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Pat, how are you bagging these up? Are you going to have the students do it? You need help? Do you need some of us to come in and help you bag this and stuff, or how's that working?
Thank you for that offer. You are a great volunteer, Robin. Robin drove down to Holyoke.
I'm a task-oriented person.
We just might. Principal Burke was great about organizing the students. I think it's super for them to help. How about I will put out a call for adult volunteers early next week if we need it. Okay. I'll go back to Kevin and see if the kids have capacity and time during the day to do the next round of bagging. And then if not, I think this is a great sort of 1 afternoon or 2 afternoon task. Like you do it, you get it done. And thank you.
I really appreciate the students being involved because it gives them a chance to participate in history in more ways than one. They're actively doing something. You're acting instead of just having to be passive, kind of, in what's happening. It's awesome.
Do the students help the seniors fulfill part of their community service hours?
I don't know if today's work was part of their community service.
I think it could be.
Oh, it certainly could be, yes.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Ellen?
Yeah, so this is batch 1, and it's a good use of the funds. What did this cost, and what are you projecting as how many batches do you think we'll need?
Okay. These, $1,500. And I will share that we had trouble with the vendor. They require a 10 to 15 day credit check on the district. And so I used my credit card. It's all good, it's all fine, I'll get reimbursed, it's fine, but the times are calling for creative provisioning, and it's silly that school districts are having to figure out how to order PPE. These were around 1,500.
For how many, Patricia?
250 plus 300 plus 300. 850. Yes? Around there?
They're expensive.
They're expensive.
And they're good for 5 days?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Yep, we got a CDC report that did not talk specifically about this brand. Okay, these kids ones, oh my gosh, we got 4,000 of them. Alan, I'm sorry, I should know this, maybe 2,500.
Okay.
So it's a lot of money, but this is a drop in our ESSER bucket.
Absolutely.
And then the ones I ordered last night were 750. We got black ones because we thought maybe the kids in school would like black more. We see a lot of black around, you know. Black and another color, and that was another 750, and that was maybe like 250 of one version and 300 of another.
I have a question about the kid sizing. So my oldest in 6th grade, elementary, is bigger than I am. And so from when my boys were toddlers, they wore adult-size hats. So are there going to be adult-size masks for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so I
elementary
think what
schools?
we'll do is get these ones out tomorrow.
Yeah.
But on the Google form, we'll say, if, were both of these masks too small, do you want to try an adult mask?
Sure.
Okay, yep.
Anything else?
Is there anything else I need to talk about?
I just have one more about indoor gym.
Yeah.
I know from working as a carpenter in dusty situations, working in attics, the masks, if you're sweating, become useless pretty quickly. Like
They get wet.
yeah.
If
As
they
soon
get
as
wet.
you're sweating, they no longer work.
I want to respond a little to that. So we recently saw some local posts about the right types of masks to wear now, and so we purchased a bunch, and both my boys who play basketball actually now prefer this shape as opposed to the paper, regular masks.
The surgical ones.
The surgical, because it actually stays away from your mouth and your lips.
And it doesn't get full of condensation?
And they're not inhaling it, like they would eat the other masks as they're huffing and puffing going up. But these more stable ones, they've found to stay away from the mouth. And this that I have on is a KN94. And so it's not as intense as an N95 medical grade as opposed to industrial grade. But anyway, our 12-year-old says that he can breathe easier playing sports. It doesn't feel like he has to move the mask up and down, actually, which is the worst part of wearing masks in athletics, is the kids just take them off. So I'll share that. But yes, the perspiration and the stuff, I would assume.
Oh, and they're breathing harder, so they're letting out a lot more moisture.
Yes, and so with the traditional surgical masks that they used to prefer, they're now finding the more structured, and even the band across it, they're not eating the mask and inhaling it, and that getting moisture, getting damp and having to reuse. So in practicality of using the masks, we've seen some.
We might want to allocate more masks for sports.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're not going to be as reusable.
That's fine. We'll do that.
Yeah, on gym days, bring 2 masks.
Yeah. Or just know that, the mask you're wearing is not going to be used for 5 days.
Anything else on this topic?
I've also seen some people wear one of the blue and white surgical masks under the KN95 masks, which would extend the life of the KN95 for sure. Then I've tried it sometimes, and it's not easy to navigate the two of them.
Yeah. Well, this has been a good conversation about masks. Thank you.
Very
Do you
informative.
have anything else for us?
No, that's it.
Okay, then we will move on to finance. And the Director of Finance will speak to us. Thank you.
Good
It doesn't sound like it.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
I guess you have to eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna get settled real quick before I start. Okay, I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. We are officially halfway through the fiscal year already.
Wow.
I know it's hard to believe, but
It is.
before I get started, I just want to give a quick update on the current status of the FY23 budget, and I just want to thank everyone, the administration team and the business office team, for working really hard on getting the initial templates out. I had a deadline of before the new year, and everyone got the template to me in time, which I am not used to that, so kudos to everyone. And I can tell you, for an initial master draft, we are close. We are so close. So we will be sharing that with Budget Subcommittee very soon to share with the rest of the committee, so look forward to that in the coming weeks. So moving on to the December reports. And I know we have someone new on the committee, Melissa, so I'm going to go over them really quickly just to kind of catch you up to speed a little bit so you know what you're looking at.
Yep.
So I believe you should have, I believe it's 5 reports in front of you. The first one is a high-level report. I'm not sure which color that one is.
Yellow.
Yellow, okay. So this report, again, just a refresher for everybody, this is like a 30,000 view of what the current general fund budget looks like. So it's split up into these 7 categories: salaries, contract services, supplies, other expenses, equipment, and tuitions. Coupling it with that is the expenditure report, and that's the one I'm going to be talking about right now. There's a few things I just want just to go over with the committee and make sure that you're aware with what's going on. So this is, I believe, the green report.
It is.
So I apologize, I'll probably be, I jump around a little bit, so if I'm going too fast, just stop me. So on the first page, which is the district administration, you'll notice that there's quite a few accounts that are in the negative. This includes the superintendent's salary, financial services, director of facilities. And the next thing that, after I kind of go over this report, is the budget transfers, which I do address these overages. So basically what happened here is we had a high turnover of some key players in the district. And what happens when you budget from previous years and people leave, you have to end that contract, pay these people out, and then enter in a new contract with new people. So obviously that first number that you originally budgeted for is going to go out of whack. So I think it was a couple of meetings ago where I was questioned on this and where I was going to find the funds. And now that we're about halfway through the year, there were some open vacancies in a couple of our schools that have a pretty large surplus in salaries. And obviously, for example, if you have a teacher that you budgeted for $70,000 at the beginning of the year, you weren't able to fill that, it's now January, you only need 35. You're not going to need the full 70. So that's why I feel comfortable by taking some of those surpluses from the teacher salary lines, which are on, yes, go ahead, Nathan.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you see that as going forward? Like, these are positions that we will need to fill?
Correct.
Right, so this is just this year?
Correct,
That we
yes.
have that, okay, just want to make sure.
So I think I'm comfortable, and I did meet with the district overseer, Rick Kingsley, and he was in agreement with me that these are appropriate transfers that do need to happen. And after I kind of go through my spiel, I am going to ask the committee to vote on these transfers tonight. So that's where we're at with these 3. So the superintendent's salary, the financial contracted services, which is TMS, that's my company, and the director of facilities. About 3/4 of the way down, you'll see a few other accounts. These are benefits accounts that are in the negative. And this is, these are funds that I encumbered at the beginning of the year, because as each payroll processes, this account will go down slightly after every payroll. So what I did was I kind of created a purchase order to encumber these funds, so we don't look like we have like $100,000 in benefits as a surplus, because that's just not real. So after every payroll period, I adjust these encumbrances down to kind of match what's happening with these benefit lines. Unfortunately, because December was such a chaotic month, I wasn't able to adjust them in time. So what happens with the system is, If you adjust the purchase order in January, you can't go back and say, oh, wait, I meant to do it for December. So this was totally my error. Those overages are not real, and in the next month, they will be at their appropriate line. So I want to apologize for that. I know there is, yep, sure.
Michelle has a question.
Oh, yep, Michelle.
So we do have line item for separation costs, but as I think about it, we had some very high hitters leave. So the superintendent, director of facilities, and business manager. So they must have had a lot of vacation in their contract, and that's what led to these overages. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I have not touched that line yet because we are only half through the year, and I know that that line is going to be continued to be utilized, especially when we reach the end of the school year with retirements from various employees.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen?
Oh, Alan.
So while we're on that theme, I just want to make sure I'm following
Sure.
Your presentation. So you have teacher salaries, you have principals, so you have all professional salaries into, in that yellow sheet.
In the high level, yes.
And then you've encumbered all of those out so that everyone's made whole by the end of this year. So you've already encumbered that.
That's correct, yep.
So in doing that, it looks like a $400,000, I hate to use the word surplus, but a balance that you would be able to transfer if needed at another point in time?
Yes,
Or am I
that's
looking at, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, if we were to have a fully staffed, that balance wouldn't have been there. But because due to the climate we're in, it's difficult to find positions and people to work for schools right now. But
That's a
it's
great
unfortunate.
explanation, because I was originally thinking that what were we planning to do that we didn't do? That we had this overage, and so that's a good explanation. Thank you.
You're welcome. One other thing that I do want to point out is on page 2. So this is the Bernerston Elementary School's budget. And if you look towards the bottom, there's a deficit of about $23,000. And that is from the mold that was happening that is cleared up now thanks to our new director of facilities. So for now, this was originally planned to use for ESSER 3 money. So this is going to be moved to ESSER once this gets approved. ESSER 3 is still pending for approval. I did speak to someone at the state last week, and about 1/3 of Massachusetts districts still have not received their ESSER 3 money. So we are not alone. I did ask if there was any reason for the holdup, and she said they're really backlogged just because it's after the holidays. Everybody's trying to get their amendments in. So she said check back within a week or two, and I'm confident that our ESSER 3 will be approved by the end of this month. So that $23,000 that you see will vanish and will be moved to ESSER in the next month's report. Other than that, everything else looks pretty clean. If you go to the very last page, where this is the grand total of the general fund budget, you'll see the budget balance is a little under $800,000 showing in the positive. We were kind of hovering around $1 million for the past couple of months. But I think after we move those ESSER charges, we adjust the POs that I need to, I say we'll probably go back to maybe $850,000 positive. So we're hovering around maybe 5 to 6% of the total budget balance, which is kind of just there, which I think is okay. It does allow us for a cushion. I know that the state wants us to have a zero at the end of it, but we're not in a perfect world. It's just not going to happen. As long as that number is in the positive, we're doing fine. I don't see anything right now that's alarming to me, especially with the ESSER money coming our way.
Does anyone have a question about this part? Any hands up? No, I have a question, sorry. On page 4, I just noticed something this time, and I went back to the previous month, and it was there too. This is a new line, athletic supervisor, for
Yes.
the last two
Yes.
reports, and I believe that is for paying Kevin Burke for his time?
No.
No? What is that for?
I believe that's for the after-school, it was brought to my attention early in the year that there's a time lag between school dismissal here and the beginning of certain sports practices. And it was, we needed some staff to be able to supervise the student athletes for that hour and a half or 2 hours, so that we weren't asking parents to have the kids go home and then turn around and drive them back. So we worked with the union and have hired several instructional assistants who, on a week by week, it changes what days they're needed, how many hours they're needed, and what they do is they supervise the student athletes in here or in the cafeteria from when dismissal takes place to when their practice takes place or their game.
And did this position require a job description?
I don't think that we created a job description for this. And this would fall under the umbrella question of holding multiple contracts at one time. So we have been working with the towns to manage that issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's no other questions regarding the expenditure reports, I'm going to move on to the budget transfers. And that's purple. So on the front page, this is the budget transfers that, I know there's a lot of them, but this is because I had to, as I explained in the last meeting, I had to meet with Rick Kingsley to go over what exactly is needed of me and what control groups qualify for approval versus no approval. So that's why a lot of these this is really 3 months worth, to be honest with you. So going forward, there won't be as many, so it won't be as like, well, what the heck is going on here? But all of these remain in the group that they're in, so facilities, athletics, special education, technology, it's all in there, so the budget can be moved around freely there. But obviously, if you have any questions about those, I'm more than happy to answer them. But if you look on the second page, there are 5 transfers that do require approval from,
What one are we supposed to be looking at? This I have just one.
Second approval sheet?
There should have been 2.
Sorry, I don't think we got them.
It'll be a different total.
Yeah, there was only one.
Oh, there was one, okay.
It was sent electronically, yes.
That was the one.
I'm sure the committee wants that in front of them, but I can explain what each one is, I don't know if that would be okay.
I have it. We have it.
Oh, you do have it, okay.
I have it at home.
Who has it? Is that Robin?
Yeah.
Electronically, they were.
So in the email that was sent out, they are there. I just think they weren't.
I think I have it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay. So there's 5, so I'm just going to go over them quickly. I've already addressed a few of them, but the first one is going from elementary salary to the superintendent salary line. This is going from control group elementary salaries to central office. The second one is also from elementary salary to the director of facility salary, which is central office. The third is elementary salary to financial contracted services, which is central office. The fourth one is the creation of a new funding code, which we had ELL teachers that needed to be separated out based on DESE function code. So this went, they were originally budgeted out of Pioneer Valley salary, and they moved to elementary salary because these teachers were, at least one of them worked strictly in elementary, so it wouldn't be appropriate if they were charged to Pioneer Valley. And then the last one was just a small fix, again, from elementary salary, and it went to the Dean of Student salary. There was a slight overage there, so I just wanted to clean that up just to make, just to match what is actually happening in that budget line. And that was it. So those are the 5. Are there any questions about those, or?
No.
I don't really have questions because I can't see them. I'd like to see them, and I'd like to, know more about them for sure.
I think she's going to share the screen. She can pull it up.
And I do have questions about moving elementary school budget items to either the middle school or the high school.
Okay.
I mean, just as, in general.
Mhm.
Our elementary schools are our most important things, and
Oh, absolutely, yep.
Karen, are you looking for a vote to transfer these?
We still have an open question here.
I'm not going to be able to see that.
Nobody can see it.
And I just want to clarify, when I'm moving money from the elementary salary, this does not mean I'm cutting positions or I'm saying that nothing's being filled. This is just simply the original amount that we budgeted for these positions. They remained vacant. And like I had stated earlier, you don't need $70,000 for a full year when half the year is gone and you only really need half of that. So that's why I feel comfortable moving this money to these lines.
So, and this is a one-time thing?
Correct.
This is a surplus for this year? And
Right
then-
now.
Yeah,
And then
Yes.
will be addressed, those will be
Yeah,
addressed.
no,
next
this
year.
is not a cut from elementary school. This is just circumstances that happened at the beginning of this fiscal year.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we need to vote on this. May I hear a motion to accept these transfers as we've discussed and seen?
Yeah, I can make that motion.
Thank you, Raina. A second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you, Ellen and Robin. We're ready for a vote.
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Nathan Schwartz, Warwick, abstain.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield, yes.
Alan Genovese, Warwick, yes.
Raina Dastu, Northfield, yes.
Robin Knight, Leiden, yes.
Michelle Jeruso, Leiden, yes.
And,
Jim Bell, yes.
thank you. And Karen O'Neill, yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So now that the committee has approved, I am going to forward these transfer requests to the commissioner to get his approval before I can put these into effect.
To the commissioner or to the overseer?
The overseer, and then he will forward to the commissioner.
Robin has a raised hand.
Robin?
Can she have it back?
I just want to thank you for the way that you present the budget, because it's something that's always been hard for me to wrap my head around, and I think that you do an excellent job presenting it to somebody that's not budget-minded, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, moving on, I'm going to go to the lunch report for December, which is blue. I need to memorize the colors of these.
This is good, color coding.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so we had an opening balance on December 1st of $66,022.93. We received total revenue of $43,364.05. Our total expenses for December was $32,939.06, which leaves a profit of $10,424.99, which leaves our closing balance as of December 31st, 2021 at $76,447.92. So we are still sitting pretty comfortably here. And I just want to say, I believe there was a question last month about when we carry 3 months' worth of expenses and revenues. So I did have Mike Honorato, our food service director, reach out to the state, and they did respond to us. And it is actually not a mandated law that we need to spend it. But what will happen is, at the end of the year, DESE may request us to have a plan of what we're going to use these funds for. So as long as we have a plan, and again, it's a request from DESE, so we need to respond, we need to comply. Because if we don't, we risk our funding being cut. So while it's not mandated, it is something that we do have to follow up on and have at least a plan for what we're using these funds for. Yes.
So will these funds needed to be used within context of the lunch program?
Correct.
But it could be used for kitchen.
Yep, so equipment, staffing, supplies, anything that's directly related to food service, yep.
So it could be used to well, we don't have any now, but if we charge for lunch, it could be used to reduce that cost.
Yes, yep, we could do that.
Okay, interesting.
I don't think that, well, we'll discuss that at some point, but to reduce it now and then have to go back up because we're not able to do it
Yeah,
next year is not good.
I'm not suggesting we do that. I just wanted to clarify in my own mind if that was possible. It's not practical. We shouldn't do it.
Are there any other questions with the lunch report? Okay, and I believe that is the end of my report for this month.
Thank you very much, Joel.
Thank you, everyone.
I have a question.
Oh,
On this page, is there any way that it can be larger?
Yeah.
Because I can read it, but it would make my eyes very happy to have it larger.
Yeah, there's a lot of blank space. It could be.
And I printed out, I print this one out at home, so I've got it in color.
That's why you've got color. I was wondering.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Unless you have more for us, Joel, we'll move on.
Safe trip home, Joel.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being here.
Yep, thank you. Okay, we're going to discuss two aspects of the warrant process. And while we're doing that, I will send around this month's warrants for signing. Do I sign under my name or up here? Julie usually signs there, right?
Why don't you sign there, Julie?
Might be needed for the next.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce it. We have previously discussed the idea of switching to a biweekly signing of the warrants. The committee asked that we go back and find out more information about what would be involved, including the option of moving to electronic signatures so that folks would not need to come into this building every 2 weeks to sign. And Joel has done some research into DocuSign.
You are back.
Okay, so basically DocuSign is a program where whoever is the account holder on DocuSign can email out a document to several different email addresses, get someone's e-signature, and send it back. So basically how it would work is somebody on the committee would be the account holder of DocuSign. We would have the warrant emailed to everyone. You would open up the email. You do not need a DocuSign account to open the file. You would sign wherever you need to go, he would submit it back, and once whoever the account holder is has everyone's signature, then it all goes on one document. So as far as pricing is concerned, I did speak to a representative, and we would qualify for just a personal, single membership, because we would only be sending out 2 documents a month. So it would only cost the districts $10 a month, so $120 a year. So I think this is a worthy investment, and again, I really think that running 2 warrants a month is going to save us a lot of headaches down the road.
Okay.
I can speak to that. So I use DocuSign for my business. I will say out of all the different electronic signature platforms out there, it is absolutely one of the easiest ones for people who are not technologically savvy. You don't need anything special to log in. You can also sign it on a personal cell phone, electronic device. It doesn't have to be on a computer. You can pull it up from different ways. This may be something looking beyond just the warrants that the district may or may not want to look into for other documents. So when I got the school committee documents that I needed to sign and send back, I just went to DocuSign and signed everything instead of printing it, signing it, getting it back to Joanne. I just uploaded it in my DocuSign, signed it, and she had it within a minute.
Great.
So overall, in using it, I will say it's a really, really nice tool and user-friendly. The bells and whistles, as you get more complicated, of course, the price goes up, but.
And I will also just add one more thing to that. They are offering us a 30-day free trial. So if we wanted to potentially try this out next month, and everybody gives it the 2 thumbs up, we can move forward. If not, then we can certainly seek other options.
Ellen?
So when I've signed, I guess there's 2 methods. One, I had a signature that I could bring over and put on it, and another one was just you type your name. That's a signature. So am I assuming that you just type your name, that's your signature?
Correct.
Okay. Just want to be clear, because when we say signature, you always think of writing.
You can pick your font if you like.
Yes. You can type in cursive.
You can pick how it looks.
Sounds good.
Michelle has her hand raised.
I'd just like to make a motion that we approve Joel to get DocuSign.
Thank you.
Second.
Starting next month?
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
And would that be for, also at twice a month?
Do we need a separate vote for twice a month?
The first month is trial. Is that
No,
correct?
but we would be going to, the question is, would we be going to twice a month warrants?
Do they need that for payroll?
Do you want to explain it, Joel?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do they need the warrants signed twice a month for payroll?
Well, the payroll is already processed twice a month, so I think it's yeah, it would include
So
that.
we would have to do warrants twice a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to add?
Do you want me to amend my motion?
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay, I will make a motion that we go to twice monthly warrant signatures and that we approve Joel to get DocuSign for us.
Thank you, well said. Is
I'll
there-
second it.
Okay, thank you, Jeannie. So we will vote. Starting.
Jeannie Milton, Bernerston, yes.
Ethan Schwartz, Warwick, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield, yes.
Alan
Robin?
Genovese, Warwick, yes.
Oh, Alan.
Robin Knight Blyden, yes.
All right,
Michelle Geruso, Leiden, yes.
thank you.
Jim Bell, yes.
Raina Dastu, Northfield, yes.
And Karen O'Neill, yes. So that is unanimous. Thank you again, Joel.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
So I have a question. So hopefully this will be in place for the next warrants. What will be, like, I'll get a message in the email, is that correct?
Yep, you'll get an
And where do I proceed from there?
So when you receive the email, I believe there's a button that will say open document, and that's when you click it, it'll bring you to another site and where you'll see the warrant, and there'll be a place for you to enter in your signature. And then there's a button, I believe, that says to submit to send it back once you've signed.
So we don't have to pre-register a signature or
Nope.
anything like that?
Okay, we will move on to item number 2, PVASP, Cafeteria Assistant Manager Wage Amendment. We already accepted this at an executive session last month, and now we will hold a vote. Are there any questions? Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I thought we were voting.
What?
I'll make a motion to accept the amendment as written.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. So now we will take a vote.
Jeannie Milton, Bernardston, yes.
Nathan Swartz, Warwick, yes.
Melissa Gary, Bernerston, abstain.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield, yes.
Alan Genovese, Warwick, yes.
Raina Dasty, Northfield, yes.
Robin Knight Blyden, yes.
Michelle Druso, Leiden, yes.
Jim Bell, yes.
And Karen O'Neill, yes. The superintendent is going to make a comment here.
Apologies, because I meant to share this earlier. One of the members, Nathan, you had asked what the cost would be, and I wanted to make sure we said that. The cost for this amendment is $3,829 for the remainder of the year, and a reminder that this does not come from our general funds. This comes from the food service budget, which is running a healthy surplus.
And it will continue to be the same. Yep. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move on to the Bernerston Elementary School nighttime custodial position.
Yes. Right now at Northfield Elementary School, we have 2 full-time custodians. In this building, we have 4 full-time custodians. At Bernardston Elementary, at the beginning of the year, we had a 1.25-ish custodian. I don't understand why, over time, this situation developed. We did increase that position early in the fall to 1.45. With the arrival of our new facilities director, and I'm sure Mr. Streeter, sitting here in the audience, could affirm, it is simply impossible for Bernardston Elementary School to be cleaned in the way that our students and staff deserve and need with less than 2 full-time custodians. So we looked at our numbers, we've spoken with the union, I have consulted with Rick Kingsley, our financial overseer. The cost to increase the custodial position for the remainder of this year is about $15,000. Rick Kingsley thinks that this is a good change to make. The position is covered in collective bargaining. The position does not have a named number of hours in the contract. If we had enough money in that particular line in the budget, I would not need to come to the school committee to seek approval to change the position from 0.45 to 1.0. But because we don't have enough money in that line, I do need to request your approval. We would use some of our rural aid money for the remainder of this year. Again, it would be about $15,000 to increase the position immediately to a 1.0. And moving forward, beginning with the FY23 budget, I would write it in as a full-time position, and we would need to fund that from the general funds. So I am requesting that the committee consider approving an increase in the BES nighttime custodial position from 0.45 to 1.0.
Alan?
So is the intent of this, or the reason because COVID is requiring so much additional sanitizing and cleaning, that it would go away, or were you intending that this would continue?
That's a great question. No, this is not COVID related. From my perspective, the custodial line at BES has simply been inadequately funded. And it is not possible, what Gretchen has made clear, and Gretchen is out doing custodial work, it is simply impossible for someone to do the custodial work necessary in the second part of the day in 4 hours. Renee, have I got it?
Yeah, I can speak to the fact that I've seen Gretchen there doing the custodial work, so she has a great perspective on what needs to be done and what the building looks like and feels like and deserves in terms of equitable needs. And I would say, as a 21-year employee of Bernardston Elementary School, that yes, it warrants 2 custodians.
Thank you, Renee. Nathan?
Does the $15,000 include all benefits, pensions, retirement?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we need to take a vote on this.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to increase the second custodial position at the Bernerston Elementary School from .45 to a 1.0 position.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Second.
And Alan seconds that. Thank you. All right. We ready to vote? Okay.
Jeannie Milton, Bernardston, yes.
Nathan Sorowitz, Warwick, abstain.
Melissa Gary Bernson, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield, yes.
Alan Genovese, Warwick, yes.
Raina Dastu, Northfield, yes.
Robin Knight Blyden, yes.
Michelle Jeruso, Leiden, yes.
Jim Bell, yes.
Okay. Karen O'Neill,
Sorry.
yes. That's okay. Thank you. All right. I believe next our superintendent will speak about the facilities master planning process.
I have spoken to the committee before about my initial observation that while our buildings are in good shape, they're in okay shape, it does not appear that we have had a thorough review done by building professionals of our physical plants in quite some time. I am requesting that the school committee consider approving my development of a bid that we would then put out this spring for a facilities master planning process. We have learned from the state, this is some great news, that we may use ESSER funding for facilities master planning, not only for this campus that the district owns, but also for the 2 elementary campuses, which we do not own. I sought guidance and received the guidance. A facilities master planning process would cost approximately $30,000 to $40,000 per site. So because we have 3 campuses, the overall cost may be in the ballpark of $90,000 to $120,000. And what would we get for that? The bid would have to be developed and the specifics, determined then. And we would have a thorough assessment of all 3 buildings, and that includes the building shell, the fenestration, the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing, structural integrity, the grounds. It would also involve bringing in a third party within the cost that I just described that would do some work that's similar to what has happened in the 6-town regionalization study, looking at our demographics and our current enrollment and projected enrollment. It would include a significant process of outreach to our communities, and that involves town residents, town bodies, staff, students, parents and guardians, to engage in a process of identifying what our long-term vision for the district will be. There is then a process of having the architect designers compare our existing structures and how those structures support our current educational programming with our proposed vision for where we want to be, let's say 10 years from now, and what kind of educational program we hope to have. And then coming up with cost estimates for what is the deferred maintenance on the buildings, how much will it cost to bring the buildings up to their best possible current use, and what would it cost to make any adjustments in our buildings necessary so that they support the exciting educational vision we have for our future. Lots in there. I have sought guidance from other superintendents in the state, and we have access to information about other firms that districts have used, other districts' facilities master plans. So I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can.
And we have a hand up, Michelle. Michelle.
Thank you, Patricia. Can you hear me? I think I hit mute twice.
You did.
Okay. I don't know what you heard, but thank you, Patricia, for suggesting that. I think it's long overdue. And the only question I have is, because the towns of Northfield and Bernardston own their facilities, do you need their permission, not only the school committee's permission?
That's an excellent question. I would imagine we would. I've spoken with FinCom in Northfield. They know about this. I've broached the idea with Northfield Select Board. We talked about it at FinCom up in Leiden the other night. Yeah, we'd certainly need the cooperation. Whether we need an official, we should get official approval from them. That sounds like a good idea.
At minimal, it would be a courtesy.
Yes.
Yeah, only because the other thing would be if there was something bad about either elementary schools, then what? If the towns didn't have the money to take care of it. So I just think it would be a courtesy to discuss it with them. That's all.
Yes, thank you.
Stephanie. Robin has a question. Oh, Robin.
Hi, I understand what this is, and it sounds like a wonderful, wonderful thing. With your history, Pat, in education, because I don't have a history in there, this kind of facility planning, have you seen it happen and then actually been the visions and everything followed through with, or is this like a new way of looking at things? I mean, is there a history of like you do this plan and this district did it and they followed it for the 10 years and they were able to act on it and make the changes? Or is this like, do you know what I mean?
I do. So no pie in the sky, right? We're not building bridges to nowhere. In the Lincoln Public Schools, I came in I've come into districts twice on the tail end of facilities master planning. In Lincoln, I came in towards the end, and I was able to see the construction of a new middle school on the Hanscom Air Force Base. And the design of the middle school was driven by the educational vision that they had for a more hands-on, more interdisciplinary approach to middle school learning. The teachers, the principal spent 2 years working with his teachers, doing professional readings and visiting other schools that were doing this kind of interdisciplinary work. They worked so hard in preparing for this new way of teaching and learning that I can tell you that when the Hanscom Middle School, you could see a smile if I didn't have a mask. When the Hanscom Middle School opened, within a week, the kids and teachers were fully exploiting that beautiful new building and the way that it was set up to allow small groups of kids to work independently, for classrooms to share space, for the specialists to work with large groups of kids. Lincoln really did make it a reality. I can confirm that. And this would be just, I am asking for your approval for my moving forward with developing a draft bid, which would then have to come to you for review and discussion. So this is just approval for me to spend time working on it.
Okay, thanks.
Ellen.
So I think this is great, by the way, and long overdue, and this will be very powerful information. When we were trying to research as part of the 6-town regional planning board, this is information that was just critical and we didn't have, particularly in the long-term planning of, where do you want to be? And I'm really pleased to hear how it's tied to the educational vision. The only caution I would have, which we learned through our work, was that having NASDAQ do this enrollment study now is, I found it to be disappointing because the pandemic has thrown everything out of whack. And I feel that had I had to do that over again, I would have not had NASDAQ do their enrollment report and all the things that they look at, because we're going to have to do it again.
Okay.
So you might want to put that as, if you're doing a timeline with this, when it's you'll get better information than we got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Are there other questions or suggestions? Okay. Nathan?
So as far as facilities, we now have this facility in the two elementary schools. There are two other towns that would certainly benefit from before school, after school, other programs. Is there any thought in that to have this part of that plan?
I had not thought of that. I had been thinking up until now of the schools that are open with PVRSD students occupying them. And if the school committee so desired, that could be explored.
Do you see benefit in having before school and after school programs in the other towns?
I want to say yes, and given how hard it has been in the past few months to find a vendor who has capacity to work with us to get our before and after school programs up and running in our existing school buildings, the thought of trying to run additional before and after school programs in the other two towns in addition, it feels a little tough. And we want to provide the kinds of programming that families need. So I don't think I have an answer for you, Nathan, just a description of the context that is challenging.
Okay.
Okay. Any other issues to address? Okay, we need to have a motion on allowing the superintendent to go ahead with our approval to work on a bid. And then it would come back to us for approval before it was actually sent out.
So moved.
Ellen, thank you.
I'll second that.
Second.
Thank you. Our chorus from Leiden. Thank you. So we will take a vote.
Jeannie Milton, Bernerston, yes.
Nathan Schwartz, Warwick, yes.
Melissa Gary, Bernerston, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield, yes.
Alan Genovese, Warwick, yes.
Rita Dasty, Northfield, yes.
Robin Knight, Leiden, yes.
Michelle Caruso, Leiden, yes.
Jim Bell, yes.
And Karen O'Neill, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. I think the next one is mine to inform the full school committee about. And Stephanie, can we display the draft of the use of private vehicles for educational programming, field trip, co-curricular and extracurricular activities? Thank you. And you should have that in your packet as well. It was sent out a day later than the other things, but it was supplied tonight as well. Okay. So, are we set? Almost. While you're doing that, I would like to first of all thank all those people who contacted our committee, either through the administration or directly to school committee members. You know, we heard from teachers, administrators, a parent who is an insurance specialist and who is now on our committee, and the athletic director as well. All of you gave us specific examples of situations which could be affected by a new use of private vehicles policy. In deliberating, our subcommittee included all of your comments in our meeting this past Tuesday night. And I would like to say that the subcommittee reached consensus on all of the changes that we made, that we revised. Before we go over the policy, I'd also like to thank all the members of the subcommittee for their hard work and invite Jim, Raina, Alan, and Jeannie to add to the presentation or correct me if I make a mistake, okay? So I will go over it with you section by section. The paragraph at the top of the page acknowledges that school-provided transportation is not always available. And therefore, we need specific regulations, process, policy for the use of private vehicles. We need to spell it out. We heard that over and over again. So then we go to the teacher-employee vehicle policy. What we initially changed with the advice of our insurance specialist was adding the part that says, under number 3, in sections 3, 5, and 12, as well as a binder from the insurance company showing the insurance is currently in effect. I don't know if you'd like to speak to that, Melissa, or if people understand what that means.
Yeah, sure.
It might clarify.
Sure. So, first of all, thank you for the subcommittee. This, in reviewing this, the past day or two, this is amazing. The amount of changes and really listening to people who spoke out, because it wasn't just me.
No.
And so it's nice that the subcommittee was welcome to hear people's real life experiences of this.
Right.
And then we're able to go and turn it into actual policy. I do have a couple things that I've noticed that I might tweak or change. I think really for this 3 that we're on right now, my question would be, what is the purpose for having a copy of the policy for the school? And this is what I mean. So in 3, you're asking for 2 things.
Right.
1, a copy of the personal auto policy, but then the binder, which is proof of insurance for that specific event. And so one of the themes that I saw throughout this is not necessarily identifying the event. So if you would just like to have a policy or a copy of a teacher's insurance company saying they have an active insurance policy from January 12th of this year to January 12th of next year, and you want to keep that on file, perfect. A binder would be requested for a specific event or activity to prove that their insurance is active at that moment in time. Okay?
Right.
So that would be a single day?
It could be a single day.
Could it be like the basketball season?
Yeah, for the season.
Yes. So for a binder, right? So if someone came to me and they wanted proof of insurance, right? I need to show someone that I have proof of insurance.
Right.
I would give a binder saying, on this date, you have proof of insurance. Your policy is active. So if you just want to have record that there is an insurance policy, then you don't need the binder.
You don't need the binder, or
You
don't
don't,
need the policy?
no, if you want to have a record of the policy, right? So the reason why I came to the subcommittee and my big concern was that there was no procedure set up to prove that there was any minimum of insurance for anyone driving anyone, right?
Right.
So if you just wanted to ask staff, we need to make sure you have a valid driver's license. The sticker, you have an insurance policy that goes from this date to this date, and then it would be up to the teacher to make sure it was active, right? Like it, unless you wanted to say, okay, for this field trip and going to Northfield Mountain, it's a lot cheaper to take by personal vehicle instead of a bus. So we want to see a binder to prove that you actually have insurance that's active on the date of that. That's a little bit more complicated, right? So when we spoke, I was more of the like either or.
I see.
Okay. For me personally, I would say if you have a copy of the personal insurance policy, that's what they have, then it's on the ownership of that teacher to make sure it's active, you know, and being fulfilled.
Ellen?
Yeah, no, thanks for that clarification.
Yes.
And I thought the binder was fairly easy to get, but maybe not. But
Oh, it's really easy to get. We do it all the time.
okay. So, wouldn't the insurance policy say the dates of when it expires?
Would it say when the date it expires, so we have that on file and we would know that?
If you pay your bills on time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you don't pay your premium.
That was,
So that is, right, so this is where we spoke more in depth, right?
Yes, right,
At the subcommittee.
that's correct, yes.
So in this, with even some of the waivers and some of the other, it doesn't identify the dates or the event, let's say the event. And so, yeah, I could give you my policy saying I'm insured until whenever, but that may not be an actuality if I haven't been paying my bill, right? And so that's where I say it would really be on the ownership
Right.
of the,
Could
Would
it
it
be
be
said
better
in
to
a
have the binder?
sentence, the process of a binder, if it's a real simple thing to obtain? What would you do? Go online and you ask for a binder?
getting a binder would only be effective if you did it really within a week
Got it.
of the event.
Got it. For that event.
I think the superintendent would like to clarify something?
We have currently two different kinds of requests to, that we've been getting from folks, from staff. One is for staff who work in a program that serves students for whom repeated trips out into the community to engage in learning is necessary as part of their regular ongoing educational program. And for those situations, we are seeking a solution that covers the child, the parent, the teacher, and the school district, so that everybody is covered legally. That is for, we would like that to be for a school year, let's say. And then there are the incidental, meaning by incident or by season. So I just want to make sure, as the committee deliberates, they understand we're looking for a period of time and this. And Melissa, so that you know, we're all learning how to do this. When we've been reviewing this, we've been making a sheet. And we check off, you know, have they given us a copy of a license? And we actually write the date of the license expiration.
Yeah.
We write the date of the month that we don't take a copy of a sticker, we want the inspection report.
right.
We write down the date that the insurance will expire, and I then send an email to the applicant, the educator, saying, I am approving you for the 21-22 school year until March 6, 2022, the date that your insurance runs out. Please send my office, da-da-da. So that's what we're doing, so I would love the committee's guidance on making sure we're doing this right.
So with seeing this, my other questions as we go through this is procedure, right? So there's policy.
Right.
Yep.
And then there's procedure. And if it says something in the policy, but it's not going to be followed or enforced, or then it doesn't make sense to be in a policy, right? And so my biggest, kind of, not concern, but my specifics when I met with the subcommittee was the sections 3, 5, and 12, right? Those are the 3 areas that we should see at minimum, okay? Spelling that out, because, like I said at the subcommittee meeting, putting the responsibility on someone who is not maybe fluent in insurance to know this, approve this, or whatever, right? It's the procedure. And that's why I think going back to, that's why I'm saying a binder may not be efficient for a year-long teacher. I mean, that's not appropriate in that situation.
Michelle has her hand raised. Have you finished your thought for the moment?
For now.
Yes, for now. Okay. Michelle. Michelle.
She's saying, I'm sorry, I forgot your name already.
Melissa.
But it would not be a binder. In the day of electronics, you can call your insurance company and they can produce they can produce a certificate of liability insurance, like for a carpenter or plumber to do some work at a job site on a daily basis. So it would just be something that the insurance company could send the policyholder saying that your insurance is valid. And then I agree who is going to do that. But you really don't need a binder, because a binder is not going to tell you the up-to-date insured.
So I think we're using synonyms. Certificate of insurance and a binder are very similar. So yes, there's different types of forms, but it would suffice for within the event.
For an individual event.
Yes.
Ellen?
Scheduled.
I'm thinking how to word this. If we had the person sign a document that said, I attest to the whatever, that I have insurance, for this event or whatever it is for the year, and they sign that, would that take the place of all this other stuff we're talking about? Well, not all of it, but up until you get past 3, 5, and 12. And then they have to sign something that says that, they attest to the fact that their insurance is active.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that it's completely appropriate to request a copy of a personal insurance policy that shows, those minimums and to be kept on file, right? And then it's up to anyone who may be, whether it's a parent or an employee, to update the district when they get their new policy. Make sure that there's that. The binder is helpful. I think where you would see that more is if in the parent drivers.
Right.
So
I was
by event.
wondering about that.
Right,
Yeah.
so this,
So for one-time or short-term
correct.
uses.
The proof of insurance, the certificate of liability, that would be where you would see for like a field trip. So if a parent was going to drive for one day, right? You could request it.
So just to follow up, so I'm not clear. I was suggesting or wondering if the parent or whoever signed something that we created that said, I so-and-so, attest to the fact that I have, insurance, active insurance, because when you said, well, if they pay their bill, or, because we see one thing.
Right.
So I thought that might resolve that whole thing, because they're giving us basically their word, and so they're liable, that they're saying they have an active policy.
Okay. I would say that, so without having to produce any proof?
Right, well, they're signing it, and we're taking their word, because, no, they've already done the first part of A. This is in place of the binder. Would that work, is the question, that they're basically saying that we have an active policy.
They've provided a copy of that policy.
Right, they've already provided a copy of the policy. They're saying, and it's enforced by what they're attesting to. Could that resolve that?
You're talking about a parent? Or anyone?
Anyone.
I would let
Maybe just for staff, I don't know.
yeah, I would, if the district wanted to do that, right, and say on the honor system, I'm attesting that this is what my insurance policy says. Sure. I'm not so sure, without seeing a copy of it.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not doing very well communicating.
Yeah,
So,
not.
the first part of this is they have to produce their policy, and they have to show they have the liability of the 100,000, 300,000. So they have to show that.
Correct.
And then they go on to have accompanied with that something that we produce, or something that they have to sign that says that their policy is current, in effect, or current, or.
Okay, so now you're talking about like a specific event. Right,
so
like
but
when
we'd
would
have
they,
that on file.
I guess I'm asking, when would they sign that? So if the school has a copy of it.
So they would, I guess they're attesting to the fact that they are going to have that, carry that policy for the remainder of the school year. Just a thought.
I think Robin has her hand up. Is that right? Yes. Robin?
Yeah, I think maybe I'm misunderstanding it. So, but if a teacher is going to do it like for a season or whatever, they meet all these requirements, and you have a copy of everything, and the binder thing would be like, okay, we're going to do a class trip. We need 4 parents to drive, and they can just quote quickly to their insurance company, and it's not like this is happening unplanned. So I would just have to, an email would go out saying that I have to produce the proof of my insurance for that day, and a license, and state my car's inspected. When you come, you can see the inspection sticker, and that's that. So I think they're 2 different things, and that's why one is for an ongoing thing that Pat explained, and the other would be like for, like a field trip that's planned that you're just going to use a car for. And that would just be like we used to do it. We just had insured cars, and I don't know. Am I getting that wrong?
Nathan, and then I'd like to bring up a point. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's a great point, Robin. So after, copy personal insurance policy, in section 3, 5, and 12, instead of saying as well as, right, or a binder for an individual event, right? So either if you're going to do this, if you're a coach, if you're an assistant coach or a teacher, you're doing this throughout the year, right? You show up a copy of your a valid insurance policy. If you're a parent, right, or a teacher who's just doing it for a one-time thing, then rather than saying as well as, or a binder from the insurance company, or, binder might not be the right thing, or just proof of valid insurance, right, for that individual event. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So, my concern about, going back to Robin, is that we're requiring less of a parent than we are of a full-time employee, perhaps? And that doesn't...
No,
No,
what we're.
it's the same proof of insurance.
No, I don't.
It's the same proof of insurance.
It's the same proof of insurance, Karen.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say that it's the same proof of insurance, it's just that I think what, how Nathan said it was what I was trying to say, it's an or thing. Like,
Right. Not as well as or.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just or proof for that event that you're
That individual
driving
event.
to the
Yep.
air car
Okay,
museum.
I
Whatever.
misunderstood you. I thought you did
No,
not.
that's okay, that's fine.
You did not want them to have to provide driver's license inspection.
Oh, no, please do.
Okay. Taken, well, any more?
Jump in for a second?
Yes, the superintendent would like to.
I would like to share that this revised system that is, will be revised further, I think is working, because I was made aware that there were some folks who had intended to volunteer to drive, and they couldn't because someone's inspection was out of date, someone else's tires weren't going to pass inspection, and someone didn't have sufficient insurance. So it's a little more cumbersome. We're processing things quickly in my office when people do, but all this work that you're putting in is good. It is working. It's getting us towards a system where everybody is covered, and when our kids get into private vehicles, they are more likely to be safe.
Okay.
So does this get fixed if we just get rid of the words as well as and just put in the word or?
Well, I'm writing down all these suggestions, and, you may not like me for this, but I think the subcommittee needs to take another look at it. We weren't scheduling a vote tonight for that reason. Okay?
May I ask the insurance person here, if she feels that would address the issues that were brought up, if that was an or there, just so we get that feedback now?
I think that if there was an or there, yes.
Okay,
For
thank you.
individual events, yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to number 6, where we did make a change, a revision this time. We heard from, initially, we wanted to always require at least 3 people in the car, both to protect the driver and the passenger student from possible criminal actions or charges. However, we were offered numerous instances where this would be impossible or impractical, such as a superintendent just told you about staff regularly taking a student to an appointment that was scheduled away from school during school time. Maybe a teacher or coach or staff member dropping off several students from an event or competition. And what about the last student in the car? So we added the language that's highlighted here. When possible, practical, a member of the, and then a new sentence, and a member of the administrative team will be notified when this is the situation, when the individual cannot have 3 people in the car. Okay? Understood? Yes, Nathan?
Yeah, I would just add that a member of the administrative team and the parents of the child. Like, they should know their child's going to be one-on-one with an adult, right?
Do we already do that for these regular occurrences?
The parents, the waiver number 2 that's described in...
A5?
Yeah. No, that's an indemnification. I don't believe that says that anything about the number of people in the car.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we should just be clear about that. That's my only comment.
I'm taking notes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, when we got to section B, which originally said that no student would be able to drive to an event, we changed the title. And we made it school events where transportation is not provided which may include band and chorus activities, co-op sports teams, clubs, and other events approved by the administration. That's the title, okay? We heard from numerous people that we needed new language here to be more specific, so the title is more specific. And the new language speaks to the cases in which school transportation is not provided. Specific examples are given under A, which follows, and says students may be allowed to drive their personal vehicles to or from field trips, co-curricular or extracurricular activities, including athletic events, when school-provided transportation is not available, but reiterates that students are not allowed to transport other students without prior permission from all involved parents and guardians. Okay?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So in following how the policy is set up, Section A is teacher, employee, and vehicle.
Right?
Section B, I believe, describes student vehicles.
Yep.
Student vehicle use. And then Section C is parent vehicle.
Yep.
So I would suggest that Section B, the title would be student vehicles.
Okay.
And then B would go to the first lowercase a, right?
Okay.
So school events, that's your first
Okay.
section of the article.
All right, So what we called the title is going to be A now, and what we currently called B.
A, lowercase a would be B.
B. Okay. All right. Yes, I was wondering about that at the time. I think we were, yep, okay.
That's why we're reviewing it.
Yep. Robin.
This is the crazy grandmother now in me, okay?
Yeah.
So we're saying that students could possibly be allowed to transport other students, but we're not asking them for any proof of.
No, it says they are not allowed.
Without prior permission.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is that we're not holding the students who may or may not be transporting to the same
standards, yeah.
to the same standards. And, oh my God, this was just my nightmare when my kids were in high school.
I understand, yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm with you, Robin. Can we involve, like, permission from all involved parents, guardians, and the administration?
Well, what do we want them to provide? Do we want them to provide the same?
Current insurance?
Yep.
I want them to provide experienced drivers and no cell phones, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
And students, and there's the question of junior operators and the
Yeah,
hours.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So they have to follow all the legal requirements, which.
And the other thing is that students, I believe it's drivers under the age of 18.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can only transport siblings.
That's correct.
No, after 6 months, they can, after 6
months.
months of driving, they can take other children. I mean, other kids.
There are some time limits for when, you can't be out after a certain time.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we need to put in meeting legal requirements.
Yeah, yeah.
I really think that it should only be in an emergency situation. I don't think, and personally, I mean, and I think you guys have done a great job. I'm just have to say, personally, I don't think any student driver to an extracurricular activity should be transporting another student unless it's an emergency situation. I feel like it's just, I just don't think it's a good thing. But I also know that realistically where we live, it's crazy, because we all live so far apart.
All kinds of
Yeah.
feedback.
Yep.
Is this yours?
Yep. Ski club and other-
Jim, could you offer your input, please?
It's a very rare occurrence that I've seen kids transporting other kids. It's usually a situation, I know for track, the bus leaves at 2:30, and sometimes a kid will have a dental appointment or something that won't allow them to make the bus. They would drive themselves if they're able to, but never another student. That wouldn't be, it doesn't happen, or it's rare.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, are you suggesting as a committee that we remove?
No.
No, because I think we would definitely get feedback on that.
Yes.
So I think where I keep going back to is the events and how it's set up, right? So here that we're looking at is for co-curricular and extracurricular. Athletics is totally separate, right? So athletics, in the athletics transportation, right, there is instances that Jim was talking about that are very rare. If you are on a soccer team that has been transported by a bus, as opposed to an extracurricular student council bowl-a-thon, right? Those are two separate?
Yeah.
There's co-op sports too, though.
Yeah.
That's the.
Ski club, co-op sports, ultimate frisbee, they're kind of blur the lines.
Yeah.
So that's where why we're trying to make these two consistent with each other.
The athletic ones, these are going to go in the athletic handbook.
Yes.
Not in our policies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Ellen.
So,
And then
I mean, this
Robin.
is not a perfect policy, and,
No.
and I don't know if we can write one. But
No.
we can write one to cover as many things as we think of.
Right.
There was something that resonated with me. They were talking about going to a parade. And,
Yes.
and that, when we're talking about, it's rare occasion, and it's with prior approval, then we have the people that are all involved and responsible would know about it. And so it took me a while to get there, but I'm okay with that because of the unusualness of our district. And we're a 4-town district, and we're all over the place. So whenever we can, with the proper safeguards in place, allow something to happen, then we should let kids participate, as long as the players meaning the parents, guardians, and so forth, know.
I agree, and we are running up against a time deadline here. But what Ellen is referring to is things such as the Franklin County parade that happens every fall, and the marching band participates in that. And the students, because parking is difficult, often go in groups, have gone in groups in the car of a student who is of age and able to transport others. So those were some of the things that we considered. And throughout this whole process, what we've tried to do is balance safety and liability with opportunities for students. And as Alan alluded to, that is often difficult to do. And I feel like a grandmother too sometimes, even though I'm not yet. Hope to be one day. But yes, we want to protect them all. We certainly do. But we don't want to cut off opportunities either. So that was our thinking here. And Robin?
So just one more question. So the way I'm reading this in yellow on my phone, on my computer, it says students are not, may be allowed to drive personal vehicles. What is it going to be? Students are not, or
are not. Our not is crossed out. It was in the
okay.
last revision.
I'm sorry, it's not, okay.
Okay.
So students may be allowed to drive personal vehicles to or from field trips, co-curricular, extracurricular, including athletic events. So you are including athletic events in there.
That's right.
Okay, when school transportation is not available, students are not allowed to transport other students without prior permission from all involved parents and guardians. I know how hard you guys worked on this, and I know you agonize over it, and I would agonize over it also. I am very uncomfortable. You know, you just talked about the band. If the band is participating and marching at an event, we should be providing transportation. Why are we expecting children to have to drive themselves to march in an event?
The spectators.
I think we're running up against some realities that we don't currently budget, and we probably couldn't budget for all of these things. The music department has no transportation budget whatsoever.
Yeah. I guess I feel like in extenuating circumstances and pre-approved, but I just can't, I can't feel like a game's over and a parent couldn't get there, so they say, oh yeah, no, it's okay, you can go with so-and-so to come home. I don't know, just.
Well,
I know how hard you guys worked, so.
I think we tried to address that with prior permission being stated.
Right, because you're not even asking the students to have the same liabilities in their car that you're asking parents and teachers to have.
I think we could.
The least experienced driver is putting a student in the car.
Right. We've got about 2 minutes before 9 o'clock. Is this a place where we pause and decide to take this up again at our next meeting next week? Jeannie?
I was looking at the rest of our agenda. I don't perceive, we didn't get into the discussion of the permanent superintendent search.
No.
I guess, would that be very time consuming?
Actually, that was something that Julie was going to present, and she was unable to be here tonight.
So we would pass over that for tonight?
I think that might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Have we got more discussion on the policies?
Yes.
And that could go on for a while.
Yeah.
I was just hoping we could have done everything.
Yeah. Nathan?
Could we maybe do subcommittee reports before we close?
I think we have to honor our mutual agreement that we voted on to be done by 9 o'clock. If we have to reconvene anyway for these other two items, then we can have those reports at that time. Okay? So I hope we all meet again in a week.
Karen?
Yes.
Point of order.
Yes.
I don't recall that passed. We had a lot of discussion on it. We took a vote. And I do not believe, because it says on the agenda that we're stopping at 9 o'clock. We took a vote on that. I do not believe that passed.
I just thought we should do subcommittee.
So if we need a little more time to finish up, we can.
Is someone able to check that for us?
I'm going to look right now and see if I can get it.
Okay. Jeannie?
Well, I'm just seeing the discussion regarding the policies to go on for a while.
Right.
And whether or not we would even get to a resolution by 9:30, I'm not sure.
Correct, and
as you said, I would love to do, part of me wanted to do the subcommittee presentations, but as you said, we have to reconvene for two other issues. And it would make more sense to delay subcommittee reports until then.
Patricia is trying to check our last meeting to see what was decided. I could check my notes too. Oh,
In the meantime, can we go on to the next one? Parent vehicle A.
And would,
That's what I was just thinking, just do the subcommittee reports. They usually go quick, and that's one less thing we have to do.
I don't have it.
don't have it.
I thought that we decided to end at 9 because that's what I thought we decided.
Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah, I think what was voted down or wasn't passed was Jeannie's amendment for people to shut up. Or-
Mr. Bell, I get in.
Jim, you may be
enough
right on
trouble.
that. I think
I
you're
get
right.
into enough trouble on my own. I don't need your help.
That's what we were voted on. Karen, I
I
wanted
stand
to add
corrected.
something.
Yes.
I think a lot of the confusion with you parents and kids driving is, a few years ago, I think it was a bit out of control. We were either trying to save on buses or couldn't get buses. And a lot of the kids, like the baseball team, was driving itself to games and so on.
Right,
So
right.
I think that's something that probably has created a lot of confusion within parents and kids and so on. That there was more license before, for whatever reason.
Yeah, and as.
That's why I want a specific policy, whatever it is.
Right, I was going to reference that. Yes, the people who are seeing this happen on the ground need it in writing. So can I entertain a motion to adjourn until
moved.
next week? What?
So moved.
So moved. Alan says, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Jeannie Milton, Bernardston, yes.
Ethan Swartzworth, yes?
Melissa Gary Bernstein, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, Northfield, yes.
Alan Genovese Warwick, yes.
Raina Dastu, Northfield, yes.
Robin Knight Blyden, yes.
Michelle Jeruso, Leiden, yes.
Jim Bell, yes.
And Karen O'Neill Leiden, yes. Thank you all
Good job,
very
Karen.
much.
Good job.
Good job, Karen.
Yes,
Thank you.
Karen. Good job.